Okay, good Vach, good Erev, Pesach. So we're in the sugya of Ainah. Again, less than a sixth, more than a sixth, exactly a sixth. And we were discussing Ainah in an object. You buy something, you purchase something. Are you getting cheated? Are you getting, again, they're not using cheated. Are you paying too much? Are you paying too little? There is a Ainah in the coin itself. If the coin gets worn down, at which point in time do we say that the coin is, now there's two things. The coin has to be taken out of circulation because it's going to be mistaken for a really good coin. In other words, it's going to take it for face value when it doesn't really have that value. That's another discussion which we'll get to this evening. But Pashit, what's the share of Ainah in a coin? At which point in time where a person can make a claim that you use this coin on me and I want the deal to go through, according to Rav Nassim, I want the deal to go through, and you pay the difference. At which point is the coin? So that's a three machlokes between Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, and Reb Shimon. Okay, so I'm just going to give you. We're going to read the Mishnah, and I'm going to go through each shita. I have a little chart that's going to be very helpful. So let's see the Mishnah. What does it say in the Mishnah? On Nun Aleph Amid Beis. Kama tehei hasela chasera, a seller that you've been using, and as a result, it got worn down. It's the amount of silver in it. V'lo yehei ba'ina, and it's mashma up until that point there shouldn't be any hana. Oina. Remei oimer arba isaros, 4 isaros isur ladina, which doesn't mean anything to us. Rabbi Yehuda oimer arba pudyanos pudyan ladina. Rabbi Shimon oimer shmeina pudyanos shnei pudyanos ladina. Okay, let's see the chart and then go through it again. Okay, let's see the chart and then we'll go through it again. We all can see this. Sela shkalim, we can all see that. Yeah, good. So now a sela equals 2 shkalim. A shekel is 2 dinarim. There are 6 mois in a dinar. There are 2 pudyanim in a ma, and there's 2 isarim in a pudyan. So if you do the math, 2, 4, right? 24, 48, 96. So there are 96 isarim in a sela, right? And going up and down the chart. What did Rabbi say, guys? Rabbi said, let's see the lashon of the Mishnah. 4 isaros isur ledinar. So we need the denomination of an isur. So 4 dinarim isur ledinar. So if you take 96, there are 96 isarim in a sela. Okay, that's a share. So it's going to be 4 into 96 will be 1/24. Good. That's 1/24. That's the share of Ainah. Okay. Now, next opinion. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Arba Pudyanos. He's not going to go with the Isa. He's going to go with the Pudyan. Pudyan Ledinar. So let's see the relationship between a dinar and a Pudyan. Here's a Pudyan. Here's a dinar. So a Pudyan is you're going to go 4, 24, dinar, 48. 4 into 48 gives you 1/12. Finally, Reb Shimon says, Shmoina pudyanos, 8 pudyanos, shnei pudyanos ledinar. Okay, so what is that? 8, you have 48. That's the relationship between the pudyan and the dinar. The relationship between pudyan and the dinar is 48. And 8 into 48 is a sixth. So that's going to be, that's again, he says 24. It's 24 times 2 dinarim, right? So he says this is 6, 24 times 2, shtei pudyanos ledinar. So it's going to be twice that amount. Twice that amount is 48. 8 into 48 is a 6. So Reb Shimon L'chaira is the Tana of the previous Mishnah who gave us the share of a sixth. Guys, you good? Everyone should be good now, right? I mean, right? It's right in front of you. Once you have that chart, we'll be going back to that chart periodically throughout the daf, okay? So those are the shittas. So for all intents and purposes, 1/12, 1/24, and 1/6. Those are the three shittas. Admasai muto lahachzir. Now, we had the shear of kidei shear letagar or lekroivai. Remember the shear of, but we said that the lekeach who buys something, the shear it takes to show to a person. What's the shear over here to know whether the coin has reached that level of what of Ainah, the 1/24th, 1/12th, 1/6. What's the level? What's the amount of time? Now over here, the Gemara is going to say, fellas, you have to show it to a particular person. You have to show it to a shulchani. He's the only one who really knows, right? You're going to have to show it to a shulchani. So it's Bekrochim, the large cities, Ad Kadei Sheyir l'Shulchani. That's the shear that it would take to get to a shulchani. Bekfarim, in the boondocks where they don't have shulchanim, Ad Arvei Shabbosais. They would go from the boondocks, they'd go to the large city to go shopping for Shabbos. Then they'd have access to know if this coin is going to be accepted by the merchants when they're purchasing stuff. That would be the shear. That would be the time that they could have charata. Okay, so the shear is, again, they give you. We don't give numbers. We give workable, practical. The shear of in the large cities, the time it would take to get to a shulchani, and in the kfar erev Shabbos. That's from the beginning of the week till erev Shabbos, because you're going to go shopping erev Shabbos, and you know if the coin that has been worn down is acceptable or not. If the person who used this coin is afilu achash shnei masa chodesh mikabel himena ve'ein lo elav tarumis. So if you use the coin, 12 months go by, you can be makabel the coin. Now the Gemara is going to ask, you just told me erev Shabbos, you just told me ad kedei, you tell me erev Shabbos, so you tell if you're in a large city till shulchani, all of a sudden now you're saying 12 months. What's going on over here? And the Gemara is going to answer, it's speaking about a chassid. The guy wants to go up and above. Let's name Meshura Sadin. And we'll see who has tarumas over here, who has any complaints. The Noisel Lemaisa Sheni, okay, this is what we're going to do tomorrow. You can use this coin that's lacking, we can use it for Maisa Sheni on its face value, not its real value. So if you have a seller that's been worn down, you can go ahead and be paid a seller of Maisa Sheni with it, and not go to the, start going ahead and the figuring out exactly how much it's worth to and redeem something at that price. Why? Because this whole thing, a person who's so makbid on the worn down coin, provided the coin is still available, is only what? It's a nefesh ra. Let me give you a dogma in my mind. You get a quarter. You can get a shiny quarter. You can get a quarter that's been around since the 70s. And it looks it. So what are you going to say? It's not worth a quarter. So I'm talking about, even if you're going after the metallic, it's been worn away. If you go ahead and analyze it, certainly you don't have the amount of silver or whatever it's coated with these days. I don't know. Right? But in the old days, it used to be coated with silver. So any person who's not going to take that is a person, after all, it's a quarter, So which person is not going to take that? A person obviously is a very, very stingy guy. So when it comes to Chilul Maisa Sheni, the coin is really usable, and it's only the people who are stingy guys are not going to use it, we can be machal on it. So again, we begin the Mishnah. The Mishnah tells us there's a din of Ainah on a coin that's been worn away. We have the amounts being given as 1/12th, 1/24th, and 1/6th, right? And if you look at the Lashon of the Mishnah, it's very interesting because the Mishnah says, Kamatei asela v'lo yehei bo Ainah, and there won't be Ainah. Mashma at 1/6 there's no Ainah. It's only beyond that there's Ainah, right? How much will there be and there won't be Ainah? It's up mashma till the 6th. So says the Gemara, I'll ask you a stira from a brisa. We have lo yehei. This brisa says ad kama tehei hasela chasera v'yehei ba'oina. Until how much should be in the seller that is missing that there should be oina. In other words, mashma when you get there, there's no oina. From our brisa, it's mashma when you get there, there is oina. From that, it's mashma, there's oina before you get there. So how do you reconcile the two? So Papa, no problem. Like Kasha, Tana Didon, our Tana is considering Kachoshev Mimato Lamaila. He's starting what? From below and working his way up. No, I know, no, I know, no, I know, no, I know. Yes, I know. And meaning you're starting from a higher number. And the Tana of the Brisa, the Tana of Bara of the Brisa, kachoshev milmayla lamata. He's saying that where it's missing a lot, you're missing already a lot, so you're going back, still missing, still missing, still missing, still missing. No, I know. So in other words, you're arriving at the same share, but where are you coming from? Amish is coming from here, and the price is coming from there. Therefore, there's no practical difference. The share of Ainah is 1/6, 1/24, or 1/12. Now, did we go ahead and Rabbi Metzia and Rabbi Yehuda argue by the previous Mishnah? It says the word talis over here. Talis means that you buy something. The only share we saw in the first Mishnah goes by was the 6th. We saw Reb Shimon. We did not see Reb Meir's 1/24th, and we didn't see Reb Yehuda's 1/12th. Right? We didn't see that. We didn't see those shitas. Right? We didn't see those shitas. So how come? Why over here by money do they argue, and over there they don't? They say over there it seems they agree with the 6th. So we have two terutzim. Amarava man tana talis. Who is the tana of talis of Shimon? In other words, they do argue. But the Stam Mishnah was according to Reb Shimon, who says a 6th. But they argue. Abaya Amma, they don't argue. Abaya Amma, they agree by talis to the level of a 6th. They only argue by the money itself. Achtus machal inish. By talis until a 6th, a person's Michael. He'll be Michael. If it's less than a 6th, he'll be Michael. The army and she people say, again, some of these Aramaic proverbs are not necessarily in our books. So they have these ancient proverbs that they give that we kind of, what the story is, but this is one of those proverbs. What's the proverb? Oshik legabeich, cover your back, spend money, even a lot of money to cover your back. Bishave lekrasech, when it comes to your stomach, pay normal value. Sela kivin leisagile leimachol. But sela, since you can't use it, you're not machol. So you want the level of a 6th. The level of a 6th is why is because by talis a person is going to go ahead and give that amount. Masha Enkein over here, by when it comes to money, they're going to be much more makbid. Not to 1/6, even 1/24th, even 1/12th, they're going to be even more makbid. Why? Because a sela is not a coin that's very usable. Again, we always spoke about putting in prutos and pudyonim, and it's sela is like having a $500 bill. It's a hard thing to use. So since it's a hard thing to use, they were not moichel on the amount. Thus, they argue. So we have two pshatim. Either they argue by Enochinami says Rava, they argue by what? By there as well, but that Mishnah was going to Rav Shimon, or they don't argue. Right. It's a difference between talis, that a person is Michael, and therefore they're Michael on up 1/12 to 1/24 up to a 6th. And there's money seller where they're not Michael, and therefore they have a higher standard of where I know it's going to take place, either 1/12 or 1/24. Good? Guys, good? Baruch Hashem. Kufa, going back over what we just mentioned. Akama tehe hasela chasera. So this is important. We're going to say this brisa, and then we're going to go see what exactly is pshat in the brisa, okay? We're going to see the brisa, and then we're going to see what's pshat in this brisa. Kufa. Akamate yasela chasera yehi ba'ina. Remei oima arba isayres isra Rabbi Yehuda oimer, same as our Mishnah. Dalit pudyonis pudyon ladina, 1/24th. Rabbi Shimon oimer shmoina pudyonis, when it's shtei pudyon ladina, which would be what? Which would be 1/6. Yeser al kain, more than this, moichra b'shavecha, you could sell it for its worth. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? More than this, meaning more than the level of you could sell it. So we have to see what that means. Ad kamati poches v'yehei reshoy l'kaima. Now here's a separate din, fellas. It's at some point in time, this money has to be taken out of circulation because you might cheat somebody. People mistakenly might think that this is what really is a 50-cent piece when it's only worth a quarter. So at some point in time, you're going to have to take it out. So that's the second part over here. The share of know it's still in circulation. You can keep it in circulation. Over here is akamati poches v'yehei reshoy l'kaima. The seller, the share of a seller at shekel. So from our chart, right, from our chart. When you start off, it starts off at a selah. When it gets, again, 2 shkalim, so half of its value, if it loses half of its value, then you have to take it out of circulation. The selah at shekel. It's 2 shkalim is a selah, so you could keep the selah around until it reaches 1 shekel, which is half of its worth. Bidinar, a dinar, ad roiva, until a quarter. The Gemara is going to ask, why is this a half and why is this a quarter? Why is this a half and why is this a quarter? Okay, pachas mikan, less than that. Right now, iser, usser. Less than that, an iser is usser. Now, the Gemara is going to ask, it can't be going on what you just said, because even a mashahu over that is out of circulation. Only, in other words, guys, in this, I'm giving you the Gemara's kasha later on in a second. You're only able to keep it up to a shekel. Now, the Gemara's havamina is, and then if it goes past an iser, it's usser. That can't be pshat, because if it goes even a mashahu past this, it's usser. So what does it mean, iser usser? We'll see in the Gemara. You should not go ahead and sell it. Loy tagar, not to a merchant. Loy lecharam, not to an anos, a person who's a very strong arm guy. You shouldn't sell it to a strong arm guy. Loy lahareg, not to a murderer. They're going to use this coin and they'll cheat other people. They'll use this coin and they'll cheat other people. So don't use it. Ella, what should you do with it? Yikvena, make a hole in it, and you can suspend it. Bitsarva b'noi or bitsarva b'itoi. Either by your son, make a little necklace for them. You know, a little with asimon, right? Remember the days of the asimon we had with the necklace, the asimon, right? That we discussed the other day. Now, omamar. What does omamar mean? We're going to go back over this brisa, this cryptic brisa. We're going back over the brisa. Omamar. Besela at shekel b'dinar, which was half, and besela at shekel, which was half, b'dinar ad roiva, which was a quarter. For the Gemara, Maishna Besela at shekel, which is a half, as we saw in the chart. Maishna Bedinar ad roiva, why a quarter? Amar Abaya, my roiva diktani nami. It doesn't mean roiva of a dinar. It means roiva of a shekel. Guys, roiva, a quarter of a shekel equals a half of a dinar. A quarter of a shekel, guys, equals half of a dinar, right? It equals half of a dinar. So it's the same thing. You're both using halves. The only thing is, by dinar you're using a shekel denomination. By selah you're staying within the shkolim family. By dinar, instead of saying a quarter of a dinar, you're saying a quarter of a shekel, which is a half a dinar. So Amar Rava, Rava says, I hear that pshat, and this is the emistic pshat. Says Rava, Dekanami. It's meduyik that this is what means a quarter of a shekel. The tani roiva, tani revia. It learns a quarter and it doesn't say a fourth. It says roiva, a quarter, rather than a fourth. If you wanted to say a fourth of a dinar, you'd say 1/4 of a dinar. You'd say a fourth. But by saying revia, a quarter, you're saying a quarter of a shekel. Shmami, no, it's a good pshat. Now, here's the question: Why do we be totally a dinar and a shekel? Right? Why don't you be totally a dinar and a dinar? It says Gemara lamali lamitli the dinar b'shekel. Says Gemara milsu v'agavruka kamashlan. You're teaching me a chiddush. The ikka dina, the asim is shekel. There's a dina that can come from a shekel. In other words, you have a shekel and it wears away. Guys, I really should just keep this open, but I want to see you guys. If you have, again, a shekel equals 2 dinarim, right? So if you start off what? The ikka dina that comes from a shekel. So if I have a shekel and it wears away, it can end up being one dinar, yeah? Guys, that's the chiddush. So the ikka dinar, the asim is shekel. There's a dinar that came from a shekel. It started off as 2. It wore away until it became 1. Messiah leil Ravami, the Ravami, dina haba me shekel, mutal kaimai. A dinar that came from a shekel, you can keep it around. It's so recognizable that, right, you won't mistake it for a shekel. It's so recognizable, you won't make it, you won't be able to cheat anybody because you recognize the difference. However, dina haba me sela, a dinar that comes from a sela, asla kaimai, because they're going to mistake it for a shekel. Guys, watch. Look at the board. The sela is a broad coin. It's a heavy coin. It starts wearing away but you won't keep it around till it gets to a dina because people will mistake it for a shekel. A shekel to a dina, people will make a mistake. A seller to a dina, they'll make a mistake in a shekel, and which is so you'd be cheating him one shekel. You're going to sell which is worth 2 shekalim. You're going to sell it for a shekel. You can make a mistake for a shekel, and really it's 2 denarim, right? So you're going to be cheating that out of a dina, right? You're cheating at shekel 2 denarim. Okay, pachas mikan. Okay, now the lashon of the brisa was the lashon of the brisa was pachas mikan iser aser. Now, what does that mean? If you take it literally, the brisa. This is what I foreshadowed you before. If it's missing from the seller half a shekel, right? Half. Well, if you could take an iser out of that, now that doesn't make any sense because even a mashu that would be over the road. Okay, so it says my ka'amar. It can't be going on what we thought it's going on because again, even a mashu would do the job. Rabbi, hachi kamar. It's going back on the share of Aina. In other words, it's not going back on taking it out of circulation, guys. It's going back on the share of Aina, of the 6th, the 12th, or 24th, right? In other words, there's 2 distinct things we're discussing this evening. 1, the share of Aina where it's still in circulation. 2, taking it out of circulation because he's going to cheat somebody. Good? So now, we thought it can't be going on cheating somebody because then the share of an Easter is irrelevant because even a Mashahu, you're going to go ahead and take it away from somebody. Even a Mashahu, it's going to be gone. So says Abaye, it's going on, Easter Asa. So to use at face value, right? If you just took away an Easter, that would be Asr. Even a little bit also. Once you pass 1/6, why do it have to be an Easter worth? One even a little bit more would go ahead and put you over the top. Right? If the seller, what are you doing now? If pachsa sella Isra ledina, if you're losing, what's the chart? 4 isurim to a seller. Pachsa sella Isa ledina. For every dinar, you're losing what? For every dinar, you're losing for every seller Isa ledina. For every dinar, you're losing an Isar. So there are 4 Isarim to a seller. There are 4 Isarim. Shezeu shir ina l'Reb Meir. This is the share of Meir. This is the 1/12. This is the 1/12. Asa. Then it's us to go ahead and keep it in circulation. With stomach Reb Meir, and we're being saisa like Reb Meir. We're keeping the shita of Reb Meir. We're keeping the shita of Reb Meir. Tanan Hasan. Seller shenifsala, a seller that became puzzle. Seller shenifsala, a seller that became puzzle. The skina shei shekel b'mishkalis. You're going to use it as a weight. Now, so once you use it as a weight, it has a shame of a kli. Utameya, and therefore it becomes tamei. Because it's shaykh. Tuma, of course, it's a kli. Ad kama tipaches, and how much does the seller have to become less? They rishoy lekaimer the seller, and you can keep it for a seller. In other words, it's a seller, you're using it for a weight, but you want to keep it for a seller, not for a shekel. Shnei dinarim. If it loses half a seller, shnei dinarim, again, shnei dinarim is 1 shekel, and the 2 shkolim to a seller. So half of the dinar, half of a seller, you'll be able to keep it. Pachas mikan, less than that, yakutz. Less than that. If it gets less than that, then you're going to break it. Okay? So, screen again one more time, guys. The seller, you want to keep it as a seller. You want to keep it as a seller. How long? 2 dinarim, it says. So it loses 2 dinarim. That means you lost a shekel. You lost half a seller. 2 shkolim, you lost a shekel is half a seller. 1 shekel is half a seller. So 2 dinarim is half a shekel. You'll be able. Now, less than that, it says you have to break it. If it loses less, now, very funny because it says now, Yisrael came more than that. What's the din? Rav Huna pachas mikan yakutz and biyesa mikan yakutz. Either way, you're going to go ahead either way, you're going to go ahead and break it. Either way, you're going to go ahead and cut it. Where do you get this from? Okay, where's the share screen? Okay, so here's the lashon of the. Here's the ritva. Because you're playing both sides of the fence. You're playing both sides of the fence. Pirish, the spherule, the pachas mikan diktani, when it says less than a selah, less than half a selah, harti kama. Rav Huna said two things. Oy shehi kasera yoisa, it's either more than half a selah, the loss is more. The yeshba pachas mishtei dinarim, right? Then has less. So 2 dinarim, and you went less than that, you're going to cut it. Oy shachisarin hu pachas mikan, or the chisarin was less than that. Sheyesh ba yoisa mishtei dinarim. So in other words, even if you have yoisa mishtei dinarim, either that amount or more than that, maybe you come to use it for a seller. So therefore, you have to go ahead. According to Rav Huna, he's mashma. Rav Huna says, "Pachas mikan yikotz and yes mikan yikotz." Either way, you're going to go ahead and you're going to cut it. Why? Because he holds less than that. That when it said less than that, these words less than that, tartikam. He's saying two things. Either what it was more than 2 dinarim, or even less than 2 dinarim. You go ahead and get rid of it. That's the shita of Rav Huna, and therefore yakutz, you're going to break it. Masha'en Kain Rav Ami, we're going to meet in a second. Rav Ami Amar Pachas Mikan Yakutz, right? Less than that, you're going to break it. Less than 2 dinar, you'll break it. Aval Yesra Kain Yikayim. If it's more than 2, you will go ahead and keep it around because people won't make a mistake for a seller. Meisive, we're going to ask the Kashan Rav Huna Amid Beis. Yesra Kain. If it's what? It's more than by the seller that you said that what? It's more than 2 dinarim. You're going to sell it. And Rav Huna said, you break it. My love shepachsa yosim echdei. It was pachas the shir less than the shir of Einah. And Rav Huna said, break it. And here we see you could sell it. Loi. It means what? The akati loi pachsa b'chdei Einah. Moich b'shaveha. Right? Yisera means it's more than the shir of Einah. It still didn't get to the shir of Einah yet. Since it didn't get to the shir of Einah yet, therefore the akati loi pachsa b'chdei Einah. You're able to sell it. But Einachinami, once it gets to that share, you'd have to cut it. Meisvei, another kashan Rav Huna. Akamati plaches, how much does the mapei have to lose via rishoy lekaima that you can keep it around? The seller at shekel. That's half its value. My love, the pachas porta, it's speaking, you lost a little bit at a time till you got a shekel, and you see that what? You can keep it around. But Rav Huna, even yes, you'd have to break it. The nafal in nura, it fell into a fire, and one time simultaneously it went from a seller to half a seller, but not that it went periodically, and then you have to cut it between the seller part and the half part. You have to cut it. No, you don't have to cut it, right? Because it happened one time. Amamar. Going back over the Bryce that we saw in the Amin Aleph, we said once it gets past the point of no return, what do you do with it? You make a hole in it and you hang it on a kid's neck. I'll show you that you can't go ahead and make a necklace out of it. You should not go ahead and use it as a weight. Once it loses that amount, you should not go ahead and use it as a weight. And you have broken kalim. Don't throw it among the broken kalim. Here's the part we need. Don't make a hole in it. And suspend it from your kid's neck with savabito, your daughter's neck. Either shave it down completely, or melt it down, or yakutz, or cut it. Bottom line is, you see, you can't make it as a necklace. You said you could make it as a necklace. Here you see, you can't make it as a necklace. Rabbi Lazar, no problem. Vimila Rav Huna. Rabbi Lazar, Rav Huna said, name Rabbi Lazar, loy kasha, kan be'emsa. When can you make it as a necklace? That's when you put a hole in the middle of the coin like the Asimon of old days. The kan, where can't you make it? That's when you make a hole minat sad. If you make a hole minat sad, you can shave it down and fool people. So therefore, it depends the location of the hole. In the middle, you're good. You could do it. In the side, you can't. Admasai muta lahachzer, right? The Mishnah said, and how long do you have? And we said, what? we said if the krachim we said erev Shabbos, the krachim we said till you see a shulchani, and the kfarim we said erev Shabbos, and l'chay referred to Gemara. Why didn't we give this? Why didn't they argue by the talis? By the talis, we said what? To show it to anybody, show it to a relative or a tagar, right? So referred to Gemara the difference. I must say mutter lahachzir. The krachim. I skipped. No, at shirenu shulchani ubakfarim at Rabbi Shabbasis. Ma'ishna b'sela demaflig. Why by a sela do we make this distinction? Ma'ishna b'talis. We learned earlier in the Masechta. The lay maflig, that early in the parak, we didn't make a distinction, right? We didn't make a distinction between the kfarim and the krachim. So he's asking the following. Not like I said that the distinction of showing it to an individual. This distinction between a bundak and a big city. We didn't make that distinction. We said across the board, it's to show it to a relative. So says Abaya, our Mishnah also speaking bitalis b'krachim. In other words, this is the teretz that Rabbi gave earlier. That you know, Rabbi and Abaya switched around. It's very interesting. He gave the teretz. Gave the teretz earlier. Abaya didn't like the teretz earlier, and now he's saying the same teretz. Now, they argue there as well. Rabbi says talis kol inchi kilne begavei. Talis, you know what it's worth. Seems to be a talis was a common piece of garment. You know what it's worth, basically, and therefore it's easy to ascertain the share of Ainah. Sella, a coin, kivin lav kol inchi kilne begavei. It's you need the trained eye to go ahead and ascertain. Therefore, you need to show it to a shulchani. So by a talis, it doesn't apply. Therefore, we have the distinction between the krachim and the kfarim, because in the kfarim you're not going to have access to a shulchani because there's no business going on in the kfarim. The kfarim would always come to the krachim for business, and therefore erev Shabbos, when they come for business transaction, then they'll be able to find out. Hilgat b'krachim the shulchani in the large cities where you have a shulchani at shiyir l'shulchani. Ubakfarim the leka shulchani ad arvei shabbos. The sulk and the shuk they go up to the shuk. Okay. Vim hoya makira. We said, and if the person recognizes that he gave out, he circulated that coin, right? Afilu lachashni mesachodesh. He can go ahead and be makabel, take it back. Then 1 second. L'chayri, you have a statute of limitations, either in a large city to the shulchanis and the kfar erev Shabbos. Why after 12 months you're taking it back? Where are we speaking about this taking it back? Ibikrachim ha'amit at sheyira l'shulchani. Bibikfarim ha'amit at ari shabbosais. We're speaking about a chassid. Guys go above board. If a guy wants to go up and above board, he can take it back. But if it's not a chassid, ein nachinami erev Shabbos in the kfarim and shulchani in the krachim. Ihachi. We're speaking about a chassid. Why did the Mishnah say Ema Seifa? What's the Seifa of a Mishnah Seifa, fellas? Ein lo yalav el tarumis. You only have on tarumis. Now, there's two possibilities tarumis. Either the chassid who accepted it, or the person who gave it. Now, Miman of Shach. If it's the chassid who accepted it, don't accept it, don't have tarumis, right? You know what? Tarumis means complaints. Don't accept it, don't have complaints, right? Il chassid, for Ema Seifa. He's speaking of the Laman. Like Kibul Kabel, don't be Makabel from him. Floyd Tarumis Taylor, you want to be Tarumis. The Ella must be Lahayach, the Kibble made, the one that gave it to him, right? Well, the bus of the Makabel, right? What kind of Tarumis to have? What kind of Tarumis can you have on him? He did you a toiva. You had this coin which you were difficulty circulating, and he took it back from you. So where's Tarumis? Manav Shach, right? Right. The Tarumis to the Chassid, don't take it. The other guy, he pleased his punch. Got rid of that lousy coin. So what do you have to say? Hachi kamar. Ha'acha, who's not a chassid, afal b'she'em mekabli himena, ein loy alav el tarumis. So you know a year ago that this Yankel went ahead and gave you this lousy coin. You mock a Yankel, and you say, Yankel, 12 months later, here's the coin. Yankel said, listen, I don't have to accept it. I'm not a chassid. And you can't have tarumis on him. He doesn't have to. Why? Because your statute of limitations ran out. You should have a shulchani if you're from a large city, or erev Shabbos from a small city. Okay. I think I'm going to hold off over here simply because it's one sugi of Ma'aser Sheni. Bes Hashem she'll be tomorrow morning, probably 9:30. Let's go for 9:30 tomorrow morning. Okay.
Are you giving 2 shiurim tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow there'll be 2 shiurim. There'll be one in the morning and one in the evening, and on Monday there'll be probably the morning or sometime, I don't know, whatever. It's a busy morning, maybe the afternoon. but we'll be doing Tuesday share on Monday. So Sunday we're doing Sunday share and Monday share, and on Tuesday and on Monday we'll be doing Tuesday share because we're going to miss it because of Yom Tov.
Wednesday night.
And